A recent article came out where McDonald's CEO shared that sales dipped in recent months and customers making $45,000 a year or less have begun to look elsewhere due to affordability. So this brings us to the question, are we in a recession? So here in this video, we will discuss the current state of the US economy and in particular the food industry and how expensive things are today. Most importantly, stick around to the end of the video because that's where we will discuss what you can do to make sure you are budgeting and saving money still, even in this economy. So let's talk a little more about McDonald's and the food industry. McDonald's has been raising their prices in the past 2 years significantly, and they have begun to trend on social media last year because of that. People in certain parts of America were posting pictures of their Big Mac and Nuggets meals that were $17, $18 a meal. And I believe that's true with a lot of places raising prices, just with inflation and the cost of food nowadays. A lot of us, including myself, we grew up on times where we had an actual dollar menu. You could go to McDonald's and get 5 different items for $5. Now at most places, there really is no real dollar menu. They have now a value menu where the items may be $2 or $3. But for most places, a true dollar menu is a thing in the past. And it's not just McDonald's. There used to be a $5 footlong at Subway. Now there's not really a mini footlongs you can get for $5. Same with Little Caesars. That company was famous for the $5 hot and ready large pizza. But nowadays you really can't get a pizza for that price anymore. So it's not just fast food either though. It's also, we see these price increases reflected also in many grocery stores. And I got some interesting data for you. According to federal data, Americans are now spending up to 11% of their disposable income on food, which is the highest percentage in 30 years. And it's no surprise to many people. We see meat skyrocket. We've seen $5 gallons of milk, if not more. So essentially, the bottom line is your dollar is not going as far as it used to go in today's economy, just for basic necessities. It reminds me of a viral meme I seen online before where someone said, $100 in groceries used to fill up my whole back seat. Now I walk out of the store with 3 bags for $100. And I found that pretty funny and also bittersweet because, it's really honestly the sad reality. So with the increased cost of foods, high interest rates, higher rent and mortgage payments because of that, and the overall higher cost of living, how do we put ourselves in position so that we can survive and also thrive during these economic times? So if you notice, everything I've mentioned mainly so far are things out of our control. We can't necessarily control food prices or grocery prices. We can't control necessarily interest rates or which direction the housing market will go in. But there are things that we can control that can set us up so that we are in good position no matter which way the economy goes. So I like to say that about every aspect of life. No matter what area of life it is, you can always write down on a piece of paper and put a big circle in the middle. And outside of the circle, you can always list a bunch of things that you can't control. But in the middle, you always have to put the things that you can control. Those are the areas where you have to put the most energy and effort into because those are the only things that you can control. So the things that we can control in this economy are how we budget and also the amount of money we save. And there's a third thing also, but stick around to the end of the video. It's one of the most important things, but we're going to save that one for last. But first, let's cover the details of budgeting and saving. So first and foremost, you need to be living off 50% or less of your monthly income. Yes, you heard that right. I said 50%. You may think it's impossible or you're not able to obtain it, but most of the times there are ways you can achieve this. So let's explain. More than 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. There's plenty data and surveys, statistics to show that. It's not just lower class. You may think, oh, it's just for lower class or middle class. No, it's actually even upper class people who make even 6 figures or more a year. So I believe ultimately you achieve this by breaking from the consumer mindset. Instead of, I'm going to consume first, you need to start thinking, I'm going to budget and save and invest first, things like that, and then spend what's left after doing those things. So the first thing you have to do on a piece of paper is you want to list all your monthly income, your average monthly income for 12 months. So sometimes people make more money in certain months than others. So that's why you want to do an average. Some people make the mistake of, on the months that they do a lot better, they start getting in debt or spending based off those months when they make a lot more, and then they turn around and struggle during the down months. So that's why you should take a 12-month average, no matter what that is, divide it up by 12, and that's your number for your monthly income. So here in this example, we're going to use, you have a net income, for easy math purposes, $5,000 a month take home. That's the amount you keep after taxes, after health insurance, your automatic deductions, stuff like that. So then after you do that, you are going to write on another piece of paper, or the same paper if you have room. So I normally do on the left side, I have my current fixed expenses. So your fixed expenses are stuff you have to pay regardless. So that's your mortgage, your rent, your car payment if you have that, your insurance, utilities, childcare, things of that sort. And if I didn't say already, you rank these from top to least. So at the very top, you'll have the highest expenses, and then you go down the list. So at the bottom of the list will be your lowest expenses. And then on the other side, we have our wants. So these are the things that we pay for on a monthly basis that we don't necessarily have to pay for. It could be like cable TV or some type of subscriptions. Eating out fast food half the month if that's more expensive than rather just preparing food at home. And sometimes you're not going to know this stuff right off the top of your head. You have to actually print your bank statements out and do it. And normally you can go back 2 or 3 months and kind of see where you are. But when you actually can put it all on paper, you can really start seeing where your money's going. So say all your fixed expenses, your monthly expenses, and your wants, say for example, that comes out to $4,000 a month. Out of, what do we say at first? $5,000 a month. So when we're talking about percentage-wise, that is 80% of your income is going out the door almost as soon as it's coming in. You have that much money coming in this month, and 80% of it is immediately going out, and you only have $1,000 to save. Which saving $1,000 a month, that is good. That's actually more than a lot of people save. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but most people can do a lot better if they actually apply themselves and try to. So you may ask, so how can I bring that 80% down to 50%? And well, honestly, you have to start at the top of the list. And a lot of people, they want to start at the bottom where it's, cutting out the Starbucks coffee and cutting out the TV subscription. Yes, that helps. Most of the time, it's not taking up the majority of a person's income, though it will help if they can, make their coffee at home, stuff like that. But you really want to start at the top of the list. So for most people, it's like the rent, the mortgage, car payment, stuff like that is going to be at the top of the list. That's normally the stuff that costs a lot of people most of their income. So that's honestly where you want to start. And it's really just, contemplating on ways to cut that down. So if you can find a way to house hack or rent hack, what does that mean? That means maybe rooming up with somebody or renting out a room or two to other people where they pay half of the rent or a third of the rent, whatever it looks like. Instead of you paying 100% of the rent or 100% of the mortgage by yourself, you can now cut down to paying half of the rent, half of the mortgage, or maybe even a third of that. You have to do your research on people as far as their financial status, their credit worthiness, and stuff like that. And even more than that, if you have kids, you can't just invite anybody to stay with you if you have kids. But it's something to consider. If you can find some reliable, trustworthy people that you can all have a common goal, hey, we want to save as much money as we can. Let's go in together where we can all be paying 1/3 of the rent instead of all 100% by ourselves, having our own places. This is where you can make leaps and bounds as far as saving, and you can cut down from 80% to 50% almost instantly. And then, of course, you want to see the other places like, canceling subscriptions you don't need. Same with the car. A lot of times people want to keep up with the Joneses. It's about their ego or self-esteem and stuff like that. When in reality, you just need a functioning, reliable car. You don't need to get a brand new car every 2 or 3 years. You would be surprised at the amount of people that are spending 25, 30% in some cases of their monthly income on a high car payment that they don't really need. You can instead go pay cash for a reliable vehicle that's maybe had, one owner, doesn't have a ton of miles on it. But, it may not be the newest car out, of course. But all you have is your gas and your maintenance on it and then your insurance. So you're saving $500, $700, however much a month that car payment is. That's another thing that can help you live on less than 50% of your income also. So once you change your budget to where you can spend less than 50% of your income a month, What does that leave you with? That leaves you with the whole nother 50% that you can be saving each month. So in this case of the $5,000 example, if you can get your expenses under $2,500 a month, that leaves you with $2,500 to save each month. Within a 12-month period, that is $30,000. So the goal is to build that emergency savings up as fast as possible, because you want to have emergency savings, because you may have car problems. You may have home problems if you own the home. You may have, you may have to plan for missing some work. Whatever, stuff comes up, emergencies come up. As they say, life be lifing, stuff always is happening. So you have to have that emergency savings. You want that emergency savings so you're not living paycheck to paycheck. You can get out of survival mode. You can get where you have a little cushion. You have a little financial flexibility. So once you have either 3 months or 6 months, really a year to a year and a half to 2 years worth of living expenses saved up, from there, instead of you having to save 50% of your income, you can start investing some of it. Or maybe you start saving 25% after that, and then start investing the other 25% into investing. Because investing, honestly, that's how you build wealth. That's how you get rich. That's how you become a millionaire. Whatever it is your financial goals are, you get it most of the time by investing. If that's real estate, if that's businesses, whatever it is, you end up investing. It's very hard to save your way to financial freedom, especially as inflation rises every year. A lot of people don't even realize if you just have money just setting aside in a checkings account or a savings account, you need to make sure it's getting above inflation every year. Inflation a lot of times is at least 3%. So if you just have your money sitting somewhere and it's getting under 3%, well, it's honestly losing its value just sitting there. So once you have those savings built up, you want to start investing as early and as soon as you can. And you can start off with safe investing, government bonds, ETF, high yield savings accounts, certificate of deposits, things of that nature. And then also with a portion of that invested money, you can be a little bit more aggressive. Businesses or investments that may require more risk, but they also have a lot more upside, like real estate, cryptocurrency, low startup, high cost profit margin businesses, and so forth. It's really how you start to see your net worth increase. That's also how you start to see your income increase. So that brings us to the third thing that you can control in this economy, and that is your income. And someone may say, well, I don't control my income. My job controls my income. Or my job determines how much I get paid, how much commission I get paid, or how much I get paid an hour or salary. So I really mean it as far as a level of investing into your craft so that you can get paid more income. You see, if your efforts are mediocre, like a lot of people, they just go to work and they just try to get by. They try to do the bare minimum just to get by. And that can be a bad thing because you can be easily replaceable. But if you take it upon yourself to being one of the top producers of your company, or really investing and getting better at your craft so you can request more money and more salary, those are the people that stand apart. Those are the people that do good despite however the economy is moving. When layoffs and stuff like that happen, it's normally not these people at the top who really make the company money, or people who really invest into getting better at their craft. And also, controlling your income can look like developing a new side hustle or developing a new skill so that you can start making money in other ways. Most successful people and people that are financially free or millionaires or whatever, they normally have multiple streams of income. They don't just have all their eggs in one basket. So you can start considering, what are some things I can do to start, putting a few hours towards a day or a week, or working on the weekends to start having some supplemental income. So especially in these times where the cost of living is high, you have to start thinking outside of the box in order to reach your financial goals. So though we may not technically be in a recession right now at the time of recording this video, most people are definitely feeling the high cost of living, the inflation, the increased interest rates. People are feeling that. So you want to make sure you are budgeting, saving, and investing as much as possible so that you can be good no matter which way the economy goes. Comment below what city and state you are from, and how much are you spending a month on groceries, and with how many people does that feed? I would be interested to know everyone's answer. Subscribe for weekly financial content and watch the video on the screen.